Welcome back learners. In chapter 3rd, now it is time to study chemical properties of non-metals. So first we will study that. Later on we will study how metals and non-metals combine with each other. So let's start the topic. Here it is. Reaction of non-metals with oxygen. When non-metal reacts with oxygen, at that time they produce their oxide. And these oxides can be acidic in nature or neutral in nature. These acidic oxide students when combined with water on dissolving in water they form acid. So let's see the example. First is carbon. When carbon is burnt in sufficient amount of oxygen at that time it produces CO2 which is an acidic oxide. Now if carbon is burnt under limited supply of oxygen that time it will produce CO carbon monoxide which is a neutral oxide. Now, if this carbon dioxide combines with water, it forms H2CO3, which is the carbonic acid. Similarly, when sulfur burns with oxygen, it produces SO2, which is the oxide of sulfur, and on combination with water, it forms H2SO3, that is sulfurous acid. So, the first property we have discussed. Let's see the next one. On your screen, the next property is reaction of non-metals with water. Students, if you will add non-metals to water, they will not react with it, nor with your water nor with your steam. Okay, so they will not produce hydrogen gas. Just because non-metal cannot give electron to reduce hydrogen ion, to produce the hydrogen gas. We will discuss this explanation later. Now the next property is reaction of non-metals with dilute acid. If you will add non-metals to dilute acid, nothing will happen. It means they do not react with dilute acid. Now let's see why. Look students, acid and water both contains H positive ion. And if this H positive ion has to be converted into hydrogen gas H2, for that, okay, to convert it into hydrogen gas, you have to give electron to the hydrogen ion. Now, a non-metal being itself an electron acceptor cannot give electron to hydrogen ion either from acid or water, and if they will not give electron to hydrogen ion then it will not convert into hydrogen gas. That's why non-metal do not react with water and dilute acids. So we have seen this property. Let's have a discussion on the next one. The next is reaction of non-metals with salt solution. That is the displacement reaction. We have previously discussed this thing. Just like metal shows displacement reaction. A more reactive metal displaces less reactive from its salt solution. So here in non-metal the same thing happens. A more reactive non-metal will displace less reactive non-metal from its salt solution. Let's see one example. Here you can see sodium bromide when combines with chlorine gas. So chlorine is more reactive than bromine. A displacement reaction will occur to form sodium chloride which is NaCl along with formation of Br2 that is bromine. So all the properties has been discussed now. Let's see the next topic. It is how do metals and non-metals react? Before understanding that, let's understand why element reacts. Okay, here you can see a table. The first column is type of elements. So we are going to discuss noble gas, metals, non-metals. Here some noble gases, some metals and some non-metals along with their atomic number have been written. We are aware of electronic configuration, the arrangement of electron into various cells. So, K shell is having maximum capacity of 2 electron, L is having maximum capacity of 8 electrons, and similarly in previous year you have studied these things, so let's discuss it. Students, now look at the helium. Helium is having atomic number 2 and K shell is completely filled. The outermost shell of any element is known as its valence shell, and this valence shell decides the chemistry of that element, whether it will react not react, or it will give electron, or it will accept electron. All these things are decided by the valence shell. Now neon, that's having electronic configuration 2 8. So both K and L shell are filled, and argon, so 288. In this way K, L and M shell are completely filled. Now every other element except your noble gases, just because they are completely filled, they are satisfied. So metals and non-metals want to either lose or gain their electron in order to become like the noble gases. So let's discuss one of the metal. Look, the first one is sodium. It's having atomic number 11 and configuration is 281. Its M shell is having 1 electron. So students, this is the valence shell, and the maximum capacity is 8. So sodium will like to make the valence shell 8. What is more easier, to gain 7 electron or to lose this 1 electron? Obviously losing 1 electron. So sodium will lose 1 electron in order to form its cation, that is Na positive. All metals lose electron. Okay. So look at magnesium, it will form Mg2 positive just because it will lose these 2 electron. Now aluminium will form Al3 positive. It will lose 3 electrons of its valence shell. These, and similarly potassium will form K positive, calcium will form Ca2 positive. Metals are electropositive in nature. They loses their electron and forms cation. Now we are discussing non-metals. The first one is nitrogen. Nitrogen is having atomic number 7 and configuration is 2 5. Its valence shell is L and having 5 electron. So tell me, what will be more easier, whether accepting 3 electrons or losing these 5? Obviously you will say gaining of 3 electron is much easier. So nitrogen will gain 3 electrons. Similarly oxygen will gain 2 electrons. Now fluorine, it will gain 7, it's having 7 electrons, so it will gain 1 in order to be completely filled just like the noble gases. Phosphorus, it's having 5 valence shell, 5 electron in valence shell, so it will have to gain 3 electron. Now I'm telling one important thing here. Here the non-metal like nitrogen, it does not form ionic compound. Okay, so it form a different kind of compound. They are called covalent, which we will discuss in upcoming chapter. For now, students, the number of electron either gain or lost by any element, that is called its valency. So what we discussed now, that was the valency of these elements. Have a look. Sodium is having 1 valency just because it is losing 1 electron. Magnesium having 2 valency, then aluminium 3, potassium 1, calcium 1, calcium 2. Okay. Now next thing, non-metals. Nitrogen is having valency 3, oxygen 2, okay, fluorine 1, phosphorus 3, sulfur 2, and chlorine 1. So we have discussed the octet rule and we have discussed the chemistry of element on the basis of that. Let's see next thing. On your screen it is electronic configuration of sodium atom. Have a look. K shell is having 2 electron, then L 8, and in M shell there is 1 electron, that is the valence shell, outermost. And this 1 electron when get loosed, at that time the sodium atom, that will form sodium ion Na positive. So that is having electronic configuration 2 8. It means satisfied electronic configuration just like the noble gases. So sodium atom will form this thing. Next, here on the top you can see chlorine. Chlorine is having atomic number 17, configuration is 287. It accepts 1 electron to form chloride ion, and this chloride ion is having configuration 288, just like your noble gases. So this is the thing. Now we will understand the formation of ionic compound. Look, when sodium atom will combine with chlorine atom, sodium will lose its electron and that electron will be accepted by chlorine. So, the ionic compound which can be represented as Na positive Cl negative, these dots are the electrons in the valence shell. Okay, earlier chlorine was having 7 electrons. Now just because it has accepted one from sodium, you can count this time it's having 8 electron, or you can write this way. So this is the formation of ionic compound of sodium and chlorine, that is sodium chloride. Let's see the next example. On your screen, it's the next example. Look students, magnesium, as we know, it will form Mg2 positive as its cation. Chlorine forms chloride anion. So when they will combine, now one magnesium atom will lose 2 electron, but your chlorine is accepting just 1 electron. That's why it will combine with 2 chlorine atoms. Okay, 2 chloride ions will join with 1 magnesium ion and they will form magnesium chloride, which can be represented in this manner. Look, magnesium has been converted into Mg2 positive, that is its cation, and chlorine, it has been converted to chloride anion, and it is the electron dot representation for that. So we have seen it. Now we will discuss the last thing, that is the properties of ionic compound. First of all, let's understand their physical nature. These ionic compounds, they will be found in solid state. They are hard, okay, but when you will put some pressure, so you will apply some force on them, they will break down into pieces. They are brittle in nature. Okay, now they are solid in state because they are formed just because of combination of a positive and a negative ion, cation and anion. So when these positive ions are together, there is a very strong force of attraction known as electrostatic force of attraction. Now the next thing, melting and boiling point. Ionic compounds are having high melting and boiling point. The reason is same students, just because they are having very strong force of attraction between them, so it will take much heat, more time to melt or boil them. Next is their solubility. They are soluble in water. Okay, ionic compounds, water is polar and ionic compounds are having cation and anion, so there is a property like dissolves like, just because of that your ionic compounds will soluble into water and they will not dissolve into organic solvents like kerosene, petrol. Next thing is conduction of electricity. Ionic compounds are having cations and anion, okay, which are the free ions in molten form or aqueous form. Just because of that, when they are in their molten form or in aqueous form, it means when we have dissolved them in water, at that time they conduct electricity. Now one more thing students, the melting and boiling point of ionic compound are very sharp. It means they have a fixed value. You must have seen the melting of plastic, or during that process the plastic do not melt at a particular temperature. It melts over a range of temperature. Okay, so this property is different in ionic compound just because they will melt at a particular temperature. Let me give you one example, that is of sodium chloride. Let's say the melting point of sodium chloride is 1074 Kelvin, so it will melt at this particular temperature. So that's all for today students. Keep learning.